American Airlines, you'd probably think I was kidding. Well, guess what? I'm not kidding. We're not about drugs or surgery. We're about adding real hair in with your own. So call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now for your free brochure. Free hair, and for limited time, up to 65% off major hotels and up to $180 off American Airlines. Just prepay for a club plan, and the hair is free.
Cars are now breaking the sound barrier. Serves are clocked at 140. We can travel 18,000 miles an hour into space. So how come pain relief isn't faster? Introducing Advil Liquid Gels, the first and only pain reliever in a faster-acting liquid-filled capsule that's gentle on your stomach. On tough pain, Advil Liquid Gels are stronger and faster than extra-strength Tylenol. Headaches to muscle aches. New Advil Liquid Gels. Advanced medicine for pain. Stronger and faster.
Where'd you get the club?
Accounting.
County gave you a club?
Yeah, I made him a deal.
Deal?
Whenever my cell bills are half as much as yours, they give me a club.
Aren't you on the phone all the time?
Yeah, but I have Nextel. My calls are rounded to the second. I pay less.
It's not fair. I want to be rounded to the second. I want clubs.
Where do I get my putter?
Give me your putter?
Nextel's 1 second rounding makes ordinary cell phones seem ordinary.
And welcome, everybody, back to Anchorage, Alaska for the second semifinal here from the Great Alaska Shootout between Fresno State and Duke. Duke, a favorite in more ways than one, with Trajan Langdon being the hometown hero, a native of Anchorage. Earlier tonight, Cincinnati defeating Iowa State by a score of 60-52 to advance to the championship game against the winner of this game. And the championship game can be seen at midnight Eastern tomorrow night right here on ESPN. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman with you. And the Fresno State and Duke match up two very different programs, but two coaches who've got something in common. Mike Krzyzewski and Jerry Tarkanian, of course, have met before. And although the program has changed for Tark, his new players know this is a big game, meeting up with Coach K.
Deep down inside, Coach Tark, he's very free-spirited, but, you know, you can tell that he's a little wound up about tonight and that rivalry they have between each other. So we sense it, and we're going to play our hardest for him. You know, we know that's important to him, and we're going to give it 100%.
Len Elmore, my partner, and yeah, two very different programs. Subplots off the floor and on the floor tonight.
Well, certainly this game is not good versus evil or right versus wrong. Just two hard-working coaches, successful and competitive. The problem Fresno State's going to face is how do they withstand the onslaught of Duke's depth? The weight's going to fall on the shoulders of Chris Herron, their best all-round player.
For Fresno State, keep an eye on Courtney Alexander, a transfer from Virginia. An outstanding scorer at a better than 22 points a game. For Duke, Shane Battier is not in the arena tonight, suffering from flu-like symptoms. He's not here. Trajan Langdon, a great night last night with 20 points, including 4 3-pointers. And we are underway with Duke in home white, controlling the tip. And Trajan Langdon goes to work right away, misses his first shot as he did last night. After that, though, he was perfect.
Well, that time Fresno State started out in a man-to-man, giving up a lot of room, much the same as Notre Dame did yesterday. But Courtney Alexander, pretty familiar with this Duke defense right there. They play their signature man-to-man, but Alexander, having played for Virginia before transferring to Fresno State, recognized it.
Chris Burgess getting the start with Battier back at the hotel, suffering from the flu. Left hand for Trajan Langdon to tie the game at 2.
And one of the things Fresno State is going to do is make Duke beat him off the dribble. Nice job by Langdon using the left.
This does not look like a game that's going to be in the 50s or 60s. They're going to get up and down the floor in this one.
And I don't know, Dan, if that's a good idea. Again, Fresno State only 5 or 6 deep. You take a look here. Unlike yesterday when Notre Dame gave a lot of room, Fresno State right up on Trajan Langdon, testing him whether he can put it on the floor. And as we see, he gets the job done.
An outstanding tenure Mike Krzyzewski has had at Duke. National championships in 91 and 92. A victory over Jerry Tarkanian and UNLV in a national semifinal back in 91. The year before, Tark defeated Coach K for the national championship. 3-pointer for Langdon. If there are any jitters about playing in front of everybody he knows, we sure haven't seen it here.
Well, yesterday would have been the day. So I'll tell you one thing. He's recognizing defenses very well. Again, right here, Fresno State changing defenses, coming out in a little bit of a zone. Good ball movement, and Langdon from about 3 feet beyond the arc. picking up where he left off, as Pop looks on very proudly.
His dad.
With the glasses and the dark shirt.
There are so many family members, and even more than that, the entire city of Anchorage has adopted Trajan Langdon as one of their own. He's gone out and spoken to kids and gone back to his elementary school in the last few days. And he is such a huge star here because he has done more than any basketball player out of the state has ever done.
Well, and that's true. It is the state as much as the city of Anchorage. Mike Krzyzewski commented that Trajan Langdon shook more hands than the governor the other day.
William Avery has to dump it off in the paint. Here's Langdon, gets open, leans in, misses the shot. Every shot Duke has taken so far has been taken by Langdon. Now a good look ahead for Terrence Roberson, and Fresno State takes the lead.
Well, there's no back down in the Bulldogs. They're going to play their game, and they get an opportunity to push it up. They're going to do that. I talked about Chris Herron. Great floor vision as you see him pressuring Avery.
Herron working on a bad ankle. He twisted it in last night's game, left for a few minutes, and then returned. Langdon again. Shot not going down. Offensive rebound for Brand. Carawell can't get it. Burgess misses the shot, and finally a foul underneath.
Talk about Chris Herron being the best all-around player for Fresno State. He controls the tempo. He's got to make decisions like that in the open floor. Nice job in finding Terrence Roberson. On the other end, though, as we take a look at Jerry Tarkanian, what he's done throughout his career.
Getting close to 700 career wins.
But on the other end, Duke's biggest advantage is going to be crashing the boards. They've got a lot of big guys coming off the bench already in the game. Fresno State a little thin on the front line. It's going to be the Duke's advantage to continue to pound and pound.
Fresno State's advantage, or at least their strength, not an advantage against Duke, but their strength is definitely on the perimeter. Their 1, 2, and 3 guys may score as much as any trio in the country. Here's Herron for 3.
Well, that time a little bit of a shake and bake by Chris Herron had William Avery frozen. They were going to test Herron a little bit to see where his range is. Fresno State not really a great three-point shooting team, only shooting about 20% for the year.
Brand going to work, a little bit strong, and rebound comes down to Abney. Larry Abney, the best rebounder the Bulldogs have. Herron, Alexander, and Roberson will all put it up from anywhere. Here's Alexander way short. And one thing that you saw a lot when he was at Virginia and that we saw last night is he'll force some shots. He'll put up a lot of shots. Take a look at some of the other games that went on around the country today.
Uh-oh, so much for the Pac-10 versus the ACC, at least today.
How about what Pittsburgh has been able to do down in Puerto Rico?
Well, I'll tell you, the Pitt team, that was the blueprint. When Ralph Willard recruited guys like Isaac Hawkins, Vonteego Cummings, and Attila Cosby, the blueprint was to have a team like this. Unfortunately, they've suffered so many injuries. Those guys are healthy, and you can see the damage they can do.
Carawell misses the 3. Brand and Alexander battling for the rebound. And it'll go to Fresno State. Elton Brand last night with 14 points and 8 rebounds. A little bit quiet because of all the incredible outside shooting that some of his teammates did.
But he did a nice job of, again, allowing the game to come to him. He didn't force anything, played with his teammates.
Abney, not really a scorer, gets free on the baseline and misses. Brand the rebound. Started leading the break, then looked for the guards.
Big fella.
Here's Brand in the paint. Nice open look. Burgess blocks. Melvin Eli's a great shot blocker, averaging nearly 4 a game. Alexander draws the foul at the other end.
Well, Eli has great timing. He's got the long arms, but he's got very quick jumping ability. And he goes straight up. A lot of guys you see go up and swat the ball, and they think they've done something when they knock it out of bounds. Great shot blockers go up, make contact, keep it in place so their team can get the rebound.
Eli, 6'9" sophomore out of Harvey, Illinois, sat out last year because of academics. That's already his 16th block of the season.
Take a look at Courtney Alexander. One of the things that we noticed yesterday was Courtney Alexander is a scorer, but he's got to be able to play with his teammates. A number of occasions we saw Melvin Eli break open on the post. Alexander's got to look inside and then move to the open spots. It's going to make his job much easier, although he's a great slasher off the dribble, as we saw on the play that led to the foul.
1 of 2 for Alexander, and a 3-point lead for Fresno State, up 10-7 on the #1 Duke Blue Devils.
And you take a look at the defense. Roberson right up on Trajan Langdon. You can't give him any daylight. And again, Fresno State looking to make Duke put it on the floor and make the play.
Avery left open. He was unbelievable last night. Duke a little bit cold here in the early going. Now Carrawell, nobody's guarding him. He'll miss the shot. Tapped back by Burgess, and Eli the rebound. Duke with 3 looks, but can't convert. At the other end, Heron tries to work his way in, and a great feed to Abney. Eli, and a foul on Burgess.
Hey, Chris Heron, it's going to be up to him making decisions such as we saw there. That's what's going to keep Fresno State ahead.
There's more great NCAA action coming your way beginning Tuesday from Chicago. It's the Grade 8 presented by EA Sports, and look at the matchups. A battle of the Huskies. UConn takes on Washington, and then Kansas and Kentucky. On a Wednesday night, Utah and Rhode Island, and then the Blue Devils. Well, they're not going to have it easy, are they? Right from Alaska down to the Grade 8 to take on number 9 of Michigan State.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski will tell you he's playing these things for March. I mean, certainly you can take all the bragging rights and get all the accolades for being number 1, but it only counts in March, and he believes that that strengthens his team's character and certainly allows him to see where the weaknesses are.
Damon Domzalski in for the Blue Devils. Eli 1 of 2. Pretty good start for Fresno State. Just over 4 minutes in, they're up 4 on Duke.
You know, these days lots of deodorants are talking antibacterial protection. Fact is, every deodorant is antibacterial, so it's not about that at all. It's about whose deodorant lasts longer. High endurance. Its 24-hour formula evaporates less quickly than the leading stick. Old Spice guarantees it, or they'll buy you a stick of yours. If you want odor protection that really lasts, high endurance exceeds the need.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Huh?
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Yeah, man. Chunky sirloin burger with loads of vegetables and lots of beefy sirloin burgers, grilled to perfection.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Why do you keep saying that? Mama.
Gotta make sure you eat good.
Campbell's Chunky Sirloin Burger.
It's loaded with beef.
What? Are we on?
Fresno State looking pretty good early against number 1 Duke. We sat down to Chris Heron of the Bulldogs earlier today to ask him what a challenge it would be.
It's a big challenge. You know, we're not taking them. We're not intimidated at all. You know, we're just going to go and play ball. We've been through too much stuff to be intimidated by Duke just because they're the #1 team in the nation. Each one of us individually have gone through some pretty tough times. So, you know, just playing basketball it's no big thing. You know, just go out there and play ball like we know how.
And Lenny makes a valid point. Stuff is a very broad term when you talk about the Fresno State program, but they've all been through a lot. Langdon wide open. He has all 3 of Duke's field goals in this game.
And talk about the things that they've gone through. Obviously, Chris Heron believes it's character-building time.
Randy Holcomb with the ball into the game for the first time for Fresno State. As Glenn mentioned, they're not very deep. This is a long 3. Fresno State is without a handful of players again this year, most of them out for academic reasons. And really, Jerry Tarkanian's not going to go more than 7 or 8 deep. And there will be more of a drop-off from starters to bench for Fresno State than there will be for Duke. Avery, open man, Brand underneath, tie game.
Nice job of penetration by William Avery. You talk about him converting to the point guard position. He's starting to recognize that once he gets in the paint, he can create an awful lot.
Alexander trying to create. Eli battling for the offensive rebound, but again, it's Brand who dribbles it out of there.
The strength of Elton Brand just took the ball right out of Eli's hand.
Carrawell baseline, looking inside for Brand. We've got 2 point guards in Avery and Heron. Really both trying to get a little more comfortable at the point. Bad shot by Avery. Make it a pass, and it works as Brand puts it in.
Absolutely a bad decision by William Avery. Got into a crowd, got up in the air, didn't know what to do with it. But, you know, when you have an eraser like Elton Brand, you can afford to make a few mistakes.
Brand already with 4 points and 4 rebounds early. Duke's on a 6-0 run. Alexander loves to put the ball on the floor and create his own shot. Roberson into the paint. Nice pass. Eli.
You don't expect Terrence Roberson to make those types of plays. Usually a guy standing out on the perimeter shooting a three shows a little bit of his ability to handle.
Fresno State has tied it up at 13. Try to get by Heron.
Take a look at the defense played by Heron and some of the other Fresno State players. If there's one aspect of their game that they match up well with Duke, is the quickness. And they're able to get up on him and force him to put it on the floor. They've done a great job thus far.
And again, remember, Duke is without the services of Shane Battier tonight. He is ill, has been suffering from a stomach virus, and he's not even at the arena. They hope they can use him tomorrow.
It could be a factor because Battier is the kind of guy who likes to step in, take charges. He's a disruptive defensive player.
Langdon forcing the issue. How about Trajan Langdon?
Langdon, a beneficiary of a poor decision by Courtney Alexander. Takes a long jump shot, no one covering the boards, and there's not a better team in transition in college basketball today than Duke.
Trajan Langdon with 9 of Duke's 15 points. He had 20 last night, and he's averaging just about 20 a game coming in. You know he can do it from outside. He's showing a drive to the bucket as well. Duke leads by 2.
Watch out now! You want to taste life? Then take a big swig of this new Pepsi One. This one's got it all. The most awesome cola taste that's bigger than the Wild Blue Yonder. But only 1 calorie. You want to taste one? Yeah. You want one? Yeah. You want one? Get it!
You got one for me?
Put your tray table up and prepare for takeoff, my man!
New Pepsi One.
It is one of the most powerful warships, with satellite communications, radar and propulsion systems that are the most advanced in the world. But USS Mitchell cannot do a single thing without you. Because the most important part of USS Mitchell is her crew of over 250 sailors who every day embark on a journey of honor, of courage, and of commitment. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Some Alaska Anchorage fans enjoying the nighttime session involving Duke, the adopted home team here at the Great Alaska Shootout. Duke up by 2. Fresno State, you know Courtney Alexander's going to take a lot of shots. You just want them to be good shots.
Absolutely, and if there's anything that they cannot afford to do is to take bad shots, not have the floor covered. You see right here, Fresno State not ready to play defense. Part of it comes from the fact that it's an ill-timed shot by Courtney Alexander. They don't have the floor covered.
Alexander took 21 shots last night, made 9. You saw the shooting numbers, poor for both teams. Duke last night against Notre Dame shot 64%. Shomario Richard, number 12, into the game for Fresno State, a junior college player. Roberson, it counts. This is a new side, as you say, to Roberson. We're used to seeing him sit out on the perimeter and just wait for the three-point opportunity.
A little change of pace. You take a look here. Nice job with the left, especially. Nice jump stop inside. Domzalski too late stepping up. But Roberson, if he can perfect that aspect of his game with the range that he has on the three, he's going to be a tough customer to deal with.
He takes so many three-pointers that Corey Maggette, the defender in that situation, is right up on him, and Roberson went around him. Misses the free throw, and that's been a problem for Fresno State. They're shooting just 58% from the line this season. And it very nearly cost them last night against Alaska Anchorage, a game Fresno won by 3. Langdon misses a long jumper, and the rebound to Abney, kind of the unheralded member of the starting 5 for the Bulldogs.
Oh, with Shomario Richard handling the ball right now, this was an opportune time for Tark to give Chris Heron a little bit of a breather. As we said, the weight's going to fall on Heron's shoulders. He's going to be asked to do an awful lot tonight.
Missed by Roberson, rebound Brand. Here's Maggette. What a night he had last night. And look at this. We are seeing the development of a future star here in Corey Maggette.
Well, if you don't know his name, you better recognize, write it down.
Randy Holcomb has it partially blocked. Rebound Burgess. Here's Maggette again. 20 points last night on 7 of 8 shooting. He'll play the wing for Duke. He's the only freshman they have, but what an impact he's made. Nate James with the ball, getting his first appearance of the night. Langdon in heavy traffic. Underneath, Burgess is stripped, tries to save it, but can't.
Well, I think this is much different for Duke. Obviously, they've played a lot of teams that may not have been competitive with them, but tonight they've had to work for just about everything they've gotten.
Fresno State staying close, 17-15 for Duke. The last 2 points for Duke, spectacular. Freshman Corey McGetty giving the Blue Devils the lead.
You don't get in this kind of shape running on a treadmill. You do it with strength exercise, and I do it with the Bowflex. You know, if you're not working out with strength training right now, you need to. Because if you want to lose weight, you got to add the muscle, and that's why you need a Bowflex machine. It's like nothing else you've ever tried before. We've got over 60 exercises you can do on a Bowflex. You're never going to get bored. You can do a full workout in 20 minutes on a Bowflex machine. You're not going to believe how effective Bowflex is the first time you get on it. Bowflex may look a little different, but that's because we designed it to function correctly. Bowflex uses power rod resistance. Bowflex power rods are so effective that Bowflex guarantees results in 6 weeks or your money back. Try going to the gym and getting a guarantee on results. You won't find it. If you call and get our free videotape, you're going to see an effective workout and see how easy and quick and fun working out with Bowflex.
Close game early. Duke not shooting the ball well at all, but still leading Fresno State by 2. Well, there's some college football regional action coming your way. Tomorrow on ABC Sports, either you'll see from the Big Ten, Michigan State and Penn State, or from the ACC, NC State and North Carolina. Then primetime, Notre Dame, number 10, led by Autry Denson, takes on USC as they renew their rivalry. Should be a great matchup tomorrow night. Call your cable or satellite company for games available on pay-per-view. This is the second semifinal here at the Great Alaska Shootout. Dan Schulman and Len Elmore with you. The winner of this game plays number 14 Cincinnati in the championship game, midnight Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN. Heron back into the game, good elevation, but missed the shot.
Well, Elton Brand standing there with those long arms forced Heron to change his shot in midair.
Alexander on the bench right now for the Bulldogs to see if that changes their offensive scheme. Brand got behind Abney and the loud finish.
Well, if Abney's going to front Elton Brand, he better be sure that he gets some pressure on the passer. Otherwise, it's all she wrote.
Brand has 6 points and 7 rebounds. Alvin Eli may try to go to work on Brand at the other end. Left hand, no. Rebound Burgess.
Again, a nice job by Brand on defense. A lot of people don't believe that Brand's ever been tested defensively. Eli with a nice move using the left, but Brand held his ground, kept his hands up, didn't create a foul.
Abney knocks it away from Avery. He gets it back, though.
The defense of Fresno State, once again, getting up pressure and forcing Duke to work for their shots. Uncharacteristic, at least at the beginning of the year.
Last night they had some great open looks against Notre Dame. Here's a steal, and the big man Eli, the length of the floor.
See, Mike Krzyzewski jumped off the bench. He wants his team to slow the tempo of this game down a little bit, not being such a rush in their half court. That was one of the problems last year. They lost a lot of leads because they can only play at one speed.
Burgess in a rush, and it finds nothing but air. Fresno State can tie, maybe take the lead.
Nice job by Richard.
Eli picked up that foot, and he's called for the travel.
That's one, though, that Jerry Tarkanian can live with. Nice 3-on-2 break. Richard drew the defense and hit Eli. It's just a question of him making the play.
Langdon back in for James. It's been a busy night for Trajan Langdon already with 9 shots attempted. Eli's going to get a lot of minutes in the middle for Fresno State because they are thin in the front court. They are much deeper in the back court.
We may have a little bit of a mismatch right now. We've got Corey McGetty being guarded by Melvin Eli in this zone area. It looked like a 2-3 zone that Fresno was playing. Started out looking like a man-to-man, kind of the amoeba thing that Jerry Tarkanian was so famous for at UNLV, where they match up, they kind of come in, they go back out, they sag, they extend. Very difficult for an offense to reach.
Larry Abney was on Elton Brand, but Abney smaller and lighter than Eli. Chris Heron gets to the bucket to tie the game.
Well, you got to give Fresno State some credit. They are challenging, as Heron said before on the soundbite that we heard. There's no back down here. They're not awed by Duke. They respect them.
Tied at 19. The irony about this Fresno State team is they're not as talented as they've been in the last couple of years, but they believe they're closer to being problem-free. That a lot of the bad apples in the school have moved on elsewhere, and they like the group they've got, better chemistry. Maggette, three-pointer. Rebound to Alexander, who's back into the game.
Quick shots by Duke lead to those transition buckets that we talked about on the other side.
Larry Abney tips back in the Alexander miss, and don't look now, but the Bulldogs lead.
Again, that's Mike Krzyzewski's battle. It teaches guys when to lighten up. They want to play at light speed. There's a time when you have to come down here and set up a pattern.
Turned it over again. Parrott, one-on-one with Avery. Fresno State by 4. And Mike Krzyzewski has seen enough. Chris Aaron saluting the group of fans that have come north from Fresno. They've got about 150 supporters who have occupied a section here at Sullivan Arena. They're making a lot of noise.
Well, you take a look here. Swarming defense. Duke not really able to solve it, and then you get it out on the break to Heron. Best all-around player on this team. He makes good decisions. We take another look at it. Protects the ball, goes strong to the hoop. He's their emotional leader as well.
9 points for Heron. Fresno State has turned the ball over only once in better than 11 minutes. Duke has turned it over 4 times. That's not a bad total, but whenever they do turn it over, the Bulldogs make them pay at the other end.
And considering the pressure that Duke applies in their defense, again, we talked about the weight falling on Chris Herron's shoulders. For the most part, he's been handling the ball, distributing, trying to find people, get them open. As long as he's making good decisions and he protects the ball, Fresno State's going to be in good shape because they will score.
Heron, as a converted point guard, really has an outstanding assist-turnover ratio so far this season. Almost 3-to-1. Carrawell back into the game for Duke, and another turnover. Carrawell gets it back. Left alone. A block, count the basket, and a foul as Carrawell will go to the line. That one could have gone either way.
Tough break for Fresno State. They make a good defensive play, but they're too quick to leak out. No one really grabbed possession, and Carrawell just hung around. Take a look here. Alexander with the reach behind, but Richard a little bit too quick. No one got possession, and Carrawell does something with it. He's that guy we talked about that comes off the bench for Duke, did that last year. You know, as a starter this year, he still wants to be able to give them a spark, whatever they need, whether it's defense, whether it's lighten it up. But he wants to raise the emotions of this team. And right now, I think Duke could use a spark.
Misses badly on the free throw. It's still alive. Burgess has it. The follow is good for Carrawell. So getting 4 points on the trip.
Making something happen.
Duke has tied it at 23. A number of lead changes already in this game. Fresno State playing well. Alexander elevates, again misses. Rebound to Burgess.
And again, a quick shot by Courtney Alexander.
Quick one for William Avery as well. Burgess strong on the glass tonight. Carrawell piling up the points.
Well, this is right about the time that the big people, the big front line of Duke starts to wear down its thinner opponent.
Eli, yes, on another great feed from Chris Herron.
Well, on one end, we talked about the strength and the depth of Duke in their front line, and they've been crashing the boards, getting second and third opportunities. But they've got to defend as well, and as long as Herron is handling the ball, drawing the defense, is able to get around his man, puts a lot of pressure on those guys.
Eli back to the line. He made 2 big free throws with 10 seconds left in the game last night to help Fresno State defeat Alaska Anchorage, but he misses this one.
He saves it for the end. You know, it's a close game. That's when they pull it all together.
Last night he was 1 of 5, and Conley made both with 10 seconds left in the game. Burgess tips in the miss by Brandt. A good game here in Alaska. Semifinal number 2 of the Great Alaska Shootout. Dan Schulman and Len Elmore with you. The winner to face Cincinnati tomorrow night. Cincinnati defeating Iowa State by 8 earlier this evening. This has been a very energetic and entertaining basketball game to this point. Fresno State said they wouldn't be intimidated, and they've lived up to it. Oh, at a time.
And it came from Courtney Alexander, who may have gotten the message. You don't have to put it up every time you touch it. Nice entry pass into Melvin Eli.
Rachel Langdon, hometown hero, enjoying another good night. Inside to Brand, muscling his way in. Duke leads.
And the thing I like about Elton Brand was took his time, recognized the defense before he put it on the floor, and then gave just that little bit of a bump to make room for himself over the taller, long-armed Melvin Ely.
Timeout called by Fresno State with 6:53 to play in the half. Duke up by just 2, shooting very poorly, but starting to assert themselves on the glass against the smaller Bulldogs. Now your chance to see even more college basketball available to you on ESPN Full Court. Call now. You can also save $10. It's the best way to see over 450 games from many of the top conferences in the country. Call DirecTV at 1-800-GET-SPORTS or Prime Star at 1-800-PRIME-STAR. Some fans of Duke, some fans of ESPN, and I think everybody happy here tonight. It's been a good game.
Well, you see Elton Brand right here waits for the defense to clear, does a nice job of bumping Eli to make room for himself. And Mike Krzyzewski talks about Elton Brand as very knowledgeable of the game, not just his position, but other people on the floor. He believes he knows more about this game than most other sophomores.
Another shot by Alexander and another miss. He is 1 of 7 tonight. Believe it or not, Chris Burgess just picked up his 12th rebound. Avery draws the contact. It's a remarkable total for Burgess, who has bulked up in the offseason. He's gained 20 pounds. And Mike Krzyzewski expecting a real increase in his ability this year. Two more scores for you. New Mexico. The battle from Cornell. It's been a busy November of NCAA basketball, hasn't it?
It has been very competitive as well. It lets a lot of people know who the teams are to be reckoned with, as we already know, the top 3 or 4 guys. But, hey, let's not forget there are other people that are just as competitive. Who would have thought Pittsburgh would do what they do?
And who would have thought that Fresno State would be this close to Duke, trailing by 3.
I'll see you. Hi, man. Me too.
Me too.
Ah, the credit card game. We've all played it.
I'll go 5.9%. That an intro rate?
Yeah. First, you get a great introductory rate, but then it goes up.
So you'll raise us to 17.9% in 6 months?
Yeah.
But now, if you have good credit, you can win the credit card game.
Let's make it interesting.
I'm out.
I'm out. Too rich for my blood.
I'll call.
With the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum card from Capital One.
That's a great game.
It's not an introductory rate, and with no annual fee, all the perks of Platinum and a low fixed rate, you may never have to switch cards again. Act now. Call 1-800-CAPITAL and start saving hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year. Call 1-800-CAPITAL. Apply today for the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum from Capital One. In the credit card game, it's the winning card.
This year, over 400,000 aluminum radiators will corrode and fail. But Prestone Antifreeze bonds with aluminum, forming the Prestone Zone of protection against corrosion. It's your car. Protect it in the Prestone Zone.
This Thanksgiving, forget the turkey and grab yourself a piece.
We got the parts all mixed together.
Of the most savage comedy of the year.
Here comes the Wahoo.
Very Bad Things.
Oh, God, I can taste it.
Rated R. Now playing.
This is the first time Duke and Fresno State have ever met, but it's not the first time that Mike Krzyzewski and Jerry Tarkanian have ever met. The first time back in 1990, the NCAA championship game. And Jerry Tarkanian's Runnin' Rebels taking on Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils. And in the biggest margin of victory there ever was, there ever has been in an NCAA championship game. Larry Johnson and UNLV defeated Duke 103-73. Anderson Hunt had 29 in that game. Stacey Augmon was a part of that team. And the Runnin' Rebels were national champions 1990. Still wearing the ring, it looks like, too.
Still biting those nails. I wonder how he's got anything left. Where's the towel, Tar?
Roberson and Herron return for Fresno State. Herron's done a good job penetrating and dishing out. This time he puts up a wild shot, and the rebound for Domzalski. Duke really starting to assert itself on the glass. Burgess underneath. He's having a big half. Duke by 5, 6 minutes to play. First half, Alexander gets inside and finally hits one. He's 2 of 8.
And that's his value. In an offense where there's a breakdown and you need someone to create opportunities, Courtney Alexander's as good as they come. He's got to recognize his role, though. He doesn't have to put it up every time he touches it.
He's got two other gifted scorers, or potentially gifted scorers, it's Chris Herron and Terrence Roberson on the floor with him. Now he's working hard at the other end on Trajan Langdon, and Langdon really trying to muscle him, getting his forearm out there, but it's Alexander called for the foul.
You know, Courtney Alexander, when he played in the ACC, averaged about 17 points a game against Duke, so he probably had a few flashbacks here. But this is what he does best. And he creates opportunities for himself to hit the jumper after he's driven to the hole a couple of times successfully. Today, he's forced a number of shots. He's really just put it up as soon as he's touched it. He's got to explore the defenses a little bit, recognize what adjustments they've made, and then have him adjust to that before he can actually go full tilt with his skill.
Foul for Alexander, his second. He remains in the game. So he has to be careful to remain with the first half. McGetty's back in there. Wow.
I think the Fresno State defense is pretty much confusing themselves as well. Good movement without the ball by the Duke players. Fresno's trying to match up, and they're losing sight of some players. The trip before that, Burgess leaked out behind the defense as well.
Eli getting ready to check back in for Fresno State. Three-pointer.
Bad shots.
Alexander just not involving his teammates enough. Langdon for three. And all kinds of contact underneath. This one will go against Duke.
And take a look at the Fresno State defense. Corey McGetty on the baseline. No one really in front of him. You see Roberson come out a little bit too late. And again, it's just a question of understanding your assignments, and the matchup zone of Fresno State confusing them as well.
Chris Burgess also did a nice job sealing off his man, giving McGetty a free pass on the baseline. Avery up on Herron. Now Herron goes to work on him, leans in to draw the contact. No call and no basket.
And I think that is exactly what Chris Herron tried to do. Tried to force the issue to get a call. The rest of having none.
Wrong guy to leave open, but it just won't stay down for Trajan Langdon. Langdon now 4 of 11 from the field.
Take a look at Avery right here. Again, on penetration. Draw the defense in. Langdon wide open. One of the rare misses. But you know he'll try it again.
He's a 42% career shooter from three-point range. Here's Avery with an NBA three. And Brand tries to outmuscle his man for the ball. It comes free. Alexander fouled hard by Langdon.
Good clean play by Trajan Langdon. Went up, went after the ball. On the other end, though, Elton Brand almost came up with the offensive rebound. Great range by the big fella. Take a look here. Langdon goes after the ball. He's going to make sure he doesn't get it up, but a good clean play.
First on Langdon. Alexander shoots two.
Now watch Brand with his range. The ball goes all the way out to the free throw line. Not a lot of rebounders can range that far from the hoop to still get an opportunity, particularly big men. That's what I love about Brand's game, his footwork.
Look at what the Blue Devils did against the Irish last night. 15 of 20 from three-point range, 12 of 13 in the first half. Just 1 for 10 tonight.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the fact that Fresno State is contesting Duke out there on the perimeter. They're not allowing them to stand there and wait for the opportunity to put one up. They've got to contest it, put a hand in it.
Just a three-point game nearing the 4-minute mark of the first half. Good showing by the underdog Bulldogs. And a foul before the basket.
Last couple of times down, Avery doing a nice job of taking what the defense gives him. If the guys are going to come up and guard him tight, he's going to walk around them. You like that hat?
I like that hat.
Another fashion state.
I assume he's with Fresno State. He's got good seats behind the bench. We've seen a little bit of everything up here in Alaska. They embrace this tournament really like I think people in a few other parts of the country do. This is the single biggest event, definitely sporting event, perhaps event of any kind in the state of Alaska.
More importantly for them, for the Alaskans here, it's there.
Yeah. Langdon way short. You wonder if it was tipped, it was so short. It'll go over to Fresno State. Alaska fans don't like it because Langdon's their man.
Da, 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 da. You show me yours. You show
American Weekend Duffel Bag. Just $22 with any $43 Tommy fragrance purchase. Available at fine stores.
It is one of the most powerful warships, with satellite communications, radar and propulsion systems that are the most advanced in the world. But USS Mitcher cannot do a single thing without you. Because the most important part of USS Mitcher is her crew of over 250 sailors who every day embark on a journey of honor, of courage, and of commitment. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Big Bob's exterminating. Spiders? Oh, we do spiders. Scorpions? I love the challenge. Centipedes? Centipedes are our speciality. The queen centipede. Bring her on.
The bugs are back. Centipede on CD-ROM. Take on 5 all-new worlds or play classic style. Get your hands on Centipede for PC CD-ROM.
Well, maybe we could talk about this?
This shootout is the first time Trajan Langdon has played at Alaska since he left East High a few years ago. We asked him if there are other good players to come.
I think there are some, and as long as kids understand that you got to work hard to be put in the position that I've been, placed in, it's not given. And you need to work hard, and up here you need to work even harder than the kids down there because you don't get the competition. But there is some, and I think if kids understand that there's going to be some more good players from Alaska.
The next good one could be 6'9½" Carlos Boozer, who last week turned 17. He's a senior, and he has reportedly narrowed his choices to UCLA, St. John's, and Duke.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Carlos Sr., who incidentally is from Maryland, and we were contemporaries down there back in the 70s. And he tells me how mature his son is, and the fact that he's going to make a decision all by himself, and academics is a very strong factor in wherever college he goes to.
Brand, a good rebound, counted, and a foul.
That's called asserting oneself.
Boy, Duke has done that. Burgess with 13 rebounds, and Brand with 10 points and 9 rebounds, all in the first half. What a night the two big men are having.
Well, we probably figured that was going to happen. I mean, you look at the size differential, particularly from a girth standpoint. Brand and Burgess so much thicker in their upper body than Eli and his colleagues on the front line for Fresno State. So they're able to use their shoulders, make a lot of room. Fresno State's been very capable of utilizing their athletic ability and their quickness.
Duke by 5, less than 3.5 to play in the first half. Fresno State has not appeared to be tired. It doesn't look like they're getting worn down all that much, despite the fact Duke is much deeper.
Well, Fresno State likes to play a fast game too, but when they get into the half court, as we saw there, they're more willing to be deliberate.
McGetty commits the foul.
Which is a good point. Against a team like Duke that likes to swarm you, that overplays the passing lane, what you want to be able to do is get the proper angles, move the ball a little bit, and when you have an opportunity to try and beat them off the dribble, you want to do that. Force the help to come, and then you can find some open people. It's very easy to say it rather than do it, but right now, Fresno State's doing a nice job.
Taman Domzalski replaces Burgess. Domzalski had a very good night off the bench last night against the Irish. And Burgess already with a career high in rebounds, and we got 23 minutes of basketball still to come.
Well, Burgess has kind of filled in that rotation spot that Shane Battier would normally occupy. As you say, he's been very effective doing what he does best. He doesn't have to be Shane Battier. He's just playing like Chris Burgess.
Eli had the offensive rebound, but couldn't connect, so Duke's got the ball and a 4-point lead. Great effort by Abney to dive and knock the ball out of bounds. He really is the blue-collar worker on this Fresno State team. Their best rebounder is 6'8", just 220, but very active defensively.
You take a look here, getting around on the high side of the offensive player. A lot of hustle. Abney played over in Europe this year on the touring team and picked up a lot of confidence in his game.
There's a hold on Heron. Chris Heron's such an interesting story, and he's been through so much. Out of Massachusetts, went to Boston College, and then came to Fresno State, has had a variety of problems, left the team for a few weeks last year to deal with a substance abuse problem. Had the opportunity to declare for the NBA draft, but decided to come back for his senior season and really to leave on a good note. Wants to get a whole distraction-free year of basketball in before potentially heading on to the NBA. But you think he's got a bright future?
I do, and I also think he's got an awful lot of guts to do what he's doing, to come out here and compete, considering a life-threatening problem. He's got to do it one day at a time.
Nice look ahead. Eli up and under, and Brand got him from behind.
Fortunate Fresno State in getting the handle on that ball. A lot of physical play, particularly on the Duke end. Fresno State bench plays are right in front of them. They're thinking that Duke is trying to bull their way through. As I mentioned, the upper body strength allows them to kind of use their shoulders and their arms to bump and grind, and I don't think Tark and his coaching staff like it. They've been letting the officials know. They think there are a couple of charges down there, a couple of pushes, and thus far they really haven't gotten the benefit of those calls.
Free throws continue to plague Fresno State. They're 8 of 14 tonight. As you saw, Eli struggling just to get to the 50% mark. They could be tied if they've been hitting their free throws.
That's what it's all about, lost opportunities. You get a free one, you got to capitalize.
They're down 5. Farewell with Heron right out on him beyond the three-point line. He has been hounding people on defense.
Look at the pressure Holcomb's putting on Gonzalski. That's travel.
Well, now it might be the Duke bench that's upset about the physical play. They are letting them play at both ends.
Well, I think this is a response to exactly what the Fresno State coaching staff was up and yelling about, that there was a lot of bumping and grinding going on. Rather than make the call, the officials allow them to play. We take a look here, Domzowski on the floor, but look at the swarm by Holcomb. And then a nice job by Alexander. I'll tell you what, Langdon created that contact right there. That's a good no call by the official.
Here's Roberson. Eli left alone and misses the baseline jumper, and Duke comes back the other way. Langdon wants to slow it down a little bit. When Avery's out of the game, Langdon will be at the point, so he's got some additional responsibilities this year.
And it sometimes takes him out of the offense. See, that's what I mean. Look at Carroll trying to drive. He's got that arm out.
Langdon a little bit cold tonight after a red-hot night last night. Fresno State on the run. Oh, man.
Man, what are you thinking about, coach?
What do? You just take him out? I mean, Jerry Tarkanian, assuming he is trying to tell him to stop taking bad shots, he's not getting the message.
Well, you got to bring him down and sit him down a little bit and just tell him, hey, you're going to get your shots. You're going to get your looks, but you got to play together. Make the defense change a little bit.
5-second call. More good defense by the Bulldogs.
Again, that's swarming D. Take a look at the defense right here. A lot of guys stepping up, trying to play on top of the ball. You see Roberson looking at Langdon. But that's really what caused the 5 seconds, is that everyone else was overplayed.
There's that move that Heron loves, and this time he connects. He drew the foul, and he hit the shot. Coming up in the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report, Reese Davis is going to update you on the North Carolina Tar Heels and Stanford in the championship game of the preseason NIT, UNLV into Kansas in the Tip-Off Classic. And we talked a little bit earlier about Pitt. What a run they're having down in Puerto Rico, beating number 10 Xavier, now number 4 Kentucky. They'll play number 5 Maryland tomorrow.
Well, they'll look to try to complete the trifecta. Wow. I know Gary Williams has probably warned his team any number of times that, you know, this could definitely happen if they're not focused. But they played well. They did a nice job against UCLA.
Farewell. Maggette up there for the rebound, but it comes free to Alexander, who's knocked down, and it'll be Duke ball.
And right there, I think the officials missed the call on the dive. It was Brand that actually pulled Alexander down with him as he was falling. Kept Alexander from getting possession. But a lot of scrappiness, a little bit of testiness on this end. And again, Fresno State standing up to Duke, and at this point in the season, I don't think the Blue Devils are accustomed to it yet.
They'll get the final shot of the first half, up by 2, 20 seconds to go. Maggette, though, forces the issue, has it blocked. Mike Krzyzewski won't like that, and then Maggette knocks down his man to commit the foul. Not a good sequence for Corey Maggette.
And Langdon imploring Maggette to slow down, to recognize the opportunities here. And that's what Langdon is doing as the leader of this team. He's been more vocal than I've ever seen him. tickling when he spoke to the freshman. But the bottom line is Maggette was off balance, never really got the elevation that he wanted on that shot, and then compounded the matters with the inexperience of a freshman to create that opportunity for Roberson to get on the free throw line.
And again, compounding matters. It's his third foul, and again, it's the 10th team foul committed by the Blue Devils, and Terrence Roberson will get 2.
Question is, can Fresno State convert?
Time after time, they've been hitting 1 of 2 every time they get to the line. Maggette leaves and Nate James comes in. Randy Holcomb in for Fresno State, replacing Larry Abney. Herron with 2 fouls also will come out for the final few seconds.
Good job by Jerry Tartini to protect his guys and also give them a little more rest going in.
Ball in the hands of Langdon. 9 points in the half, but just 4 of 13 from the floor. Down to 5 seconds, and he is way out there. Has to create his own shot, and his shot is up. It shouldn't have counted, and it missed. It looked like that might have counted had it gone in, and it appeared to be after the buzzer.
Well, the officials didn't wave it off, and I can't believe it, that they wouldn't see that the shot never made it past the clock.
The Blue Devils are in a battle. The #1 team in the country is tied with unranked Fresno State. The 10th tie we've had this half. Let's send you back to the studio and join Reese Davis. Reese?
All right, guys, and it has been a scrappy first half. Tark's bunch, despite some poor shot selection from Courtney Alexander, still in there 38-38. Alexander, of course, has a great history against Duke when he was at Virginia. Coming up on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report, all kinds of highlights, including the championship game of the preseason NIT. North Carolina trying to get it done against Stanford. Veterans doing it for the Tar Heels.
It happens every November in Anchorage, Alaska. Top teams, tough competition. Cars, Great Alaska Shootout. Be there.
Where'd you get the club?
Accounting.
Accounting gave you a club?
Yeah, I made him a deal.
Deal?
Whenever my cell bills are half as much as yours, they give me a club.
Aren't you on the phone all the time?
Yeah, but I have Nextel. My calls are rounded to the second. I pay less.
That's not fair. I want to be rounded to the second. I want clubs.
Wait till I get my putter.
Giving you a putter?
Nextel's 1 second rounding makes ordinary cell phones seem ordinary.
EA Sports presents Tiger versus Cyber Tiger.
Hey, Tiger, you ever think about caddying?
Don't make me come over there.
Step aside. It's combo time.
Combo?
Check it out. Get up.
Oh, that combo.
Tiger Woods, 99, PGA Tour Golf. Be 'em or beat 'em. EA Sports. It's in the game.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
This halftime report is presented by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
And glad to have you with us on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. The final of the preseason Chase NIT earlier tonight right here on ESPN. Consider this, North Carolina had never won the preseason NIT, but the Tar Heels had never lost to Stanford, while Stanford had never lost a game in Madison Square Garden. You know, I think something had to give. Dean Smith on hand. He's still a consultant for the Tar Heels, goes to the office every day. He's watching this one. Ed Cota working on Arthur Lee and showing off a little bit. 27-21 Carolina. And Dino obviously pleased. Second half, more from Ed Cota. A great game against Purdue in the semifinals. Now knifing in the paint. Hits the runner. Carolina 36-29. Another set play. Watch Cota. Nice bounce pass. If you can bounce pass well, you can play at any level. Adamola Okalaja, he had 14, 5 dimes for Coda. Stanford trying to come back. Martin Madison going back up. No, shoot for you. The big guy, Brendan Haywood with the block. That would be enough. Carolina 0 for 2 in the preseason NIT prior to this one. They get the championship. Coda, the MVP, 17 points, 11 boards, following his 11-point, 8-assist outing against Purdue. Consolation game, Purdue and St. John's. Mike Jarvis in the Red Storm up by 16 at the break, but Purdue clawing back. Allen Eldridge, C the 3, B the 3. Purdue right back in it late. Now the closing kick. Purdue getting it to Jerron Cornell. Bank. Called it, I think. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. Counts anyway. Purdue 70-69 late. St. John's one more shot. Ron Artest trying to win it for the Red Storm. Trevor Postel with the follow dunk, but it was way too late, and Purdue rallies from behind to win it. 70-69, the final in that one. Mike Robinson leading the Boilers with 19. UConn, a yawner. 111-46. Rip Hamilton with 22 points in that ball game. Moving on now, Great Alaska Shootout. This is Alaska Anchorage against Notre Dame. Game would go to overtime. Good passing by the Division II Seawolves. Scott Larrabee draining to 3. Later in overtime, J.J. Pilgreen is at the line. Oh, you got to get a butt on the shooter, and nobody did. Alaska Anchorage upsetting Notre Dame, 88-82 the final. The Irish now 1-4. Freshman Troy Murphy, 21-17 for Notre Dame. Villanova had a tough time with Jim Phelan's Mount St. Mary's crew, 71-68 the final. Nova just 4 of 19 from behind the three-point arc. Iowa State and Cincinnati, that also in the Great Alaska Shootout. Cincinnati now awaiting the winner of the game you're watching between Duke and Fresno State. Cincy shot just 41% from the floor, but they were able to win it by 8. UNLV and Kansas, the tip-off classic, seen earlier here on ESPN. Edwin Daniels of UNLV loses it. Everybody's on the floor. Nick Bradford finally cleans it up for the Jayhawks. Later in the first half, Vegas on the break. Kevin Simmons alley-oop to the JC transfer, Sean Marion. The 2-point game at halftime, but boy, it was a blowout in the second half. It was all Jayhawks. Ryan Robertson, Kenny Gregory, barely up and over. Kansas blows it out, 78-50 in this one. Vegas scored the 16 points in the second half. In fact, UNLV scoreless for the last 4 minutes and 50 seconds. The Breslin Center, the Spartan Classic, Michigan State, no trouble with Central Florida, 87-64 the final in that one. The team cleaves 9 assists, but just 3 points in that game. Don't forget, here on ESPN next week, the Grade 8 presented by EA Sports will start it off on Tuesday, UConn and Washington. And then those Jayhawks you saw earlier will take on number 4 Kentucky. That one coming your way at 9:30 Eastern Time. Then it'll be Utah and Rhode Island on 7:30 Wednesday night. And then that's followed by the big one, the very Blue Devils you're watching taking on McKean Cleves and Michigan State. Cleves with just 3 points tonight. They'll need more than that against Duke. Coming up, Pittsburgh trying to knock off their second straight top 10 team in 2 nights. We'll check in on the Cats and the Panthers in a bit.
Are we on?
There's a medical emergency, but no hospital. What do you do? Build one. Leadership. Learn it now in the Army Reserve. Use it now in your career.
The Maglite flashlight. American-made. To be brighter, tougher, more dependable. The Maglite is a work of art that works. A Maglite flashlight is the brilliant gift idea for any occasion.
Sound barrier, like a Harrier. Aircraft carrier. When I do a fly-by, don't be so perplexed. Got me the rugged proportion of GMX. I got moving here underfoot. See, never mind. Others, if they don't mind me, I'm leaving the mark, showing individuality.
How's that new Reebok Run DMX 6 feel?
Banging, man. They hot, man.
You fellas gearing up for a 10K?
For every action, there's foot action.
Big Bob's Exterminating.